All right, guys, thanks for joining me again for another video. This one is a little bit different. Today, we're actually going to be talking about a Bitcoin price prediction. That's right, a Bitcoin price prediction. You might be, well, Stefan, why are you getting into investing in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin? Well, it's because of the verse that we see on the screen, Deuteronomy 8:18. But you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the power to get wealth, that He may establish His covenant, which He swore to your fathers as it is today. You might be saying, well, Stefan, I know you're a Christian and I know all of this stuff, but you really believe that God wants us to be wealthy? I believe that God wants you to prosper in everything that you're doing in life, but I believe that when prosperity comes, it's to give back to His kingdom. It's for His glory. It's for His honor. It's to make sure you tithe to your church. It's to make sure you help the homeless. It's to make sure you do these things and have a kingdom mindset. It's to make sure that when you have a brother or sister or family member in need, that you're able to help them. So I ask of you that be your heart, that be your mindset. And if you don't have that heart, I pray for you, and we can talk about that as to how you can develop that right mindset. Now, let's get into what we're talking about today. I believe that if you're going to analyze Bitcoin, if you're going to analyze these cryptocurrency markets, what you want to do, you want to use market patterns, market cycles, that type of stuff, because you don't just want to gamble, right? If God gives us the ability to gain wealth, we have to use the ability He's given us. He didn't say, I'm going to just make Bitcoin go up to $1 million and you can buy one and you get rich tomorrow. No, it actually doesn't happen like that. As crazy as Bitcoin could be, there is a purpose why it moves, and there's a reason why the market moves a certain way, right? He gives us the ability, and we're to use that ability and analyze the markets. There's something called the Bitcoin halving. The Bitcoin halving is what makes Bitcoin move from cycle to cycle, right? What happens during the Bitcoin halving is half of what gets created as far as Bitcoin goes is cut in half. So the Bitcoin is created, it is mined through a computer algorithm, right? Every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin that is mined gets cut in half. Let me break it down to you this way. Let's say the supply of food in the world got cut in half. How much more valuable would food be? Let's say the supply of gas got cut in half. How much more valuable would gas be? Right? There's still a demand for it and there's less supply. Whether the demand is just speculative, whether it's an actual use case, whether it's something that people hoard, it doesn't matter. Once there's a demand for it, the price will go up if the supply actually gets cut in half. So the Bitcoin halving event happens every 4 years, where the supply of Bitcoin is cut in half, and it causes almost like a supply shock, and the price starts going up because the asset becomes more valuable. If you look at the screen, you'll see the 4 different halving events that we're going to be looking at, or more or less market cycles that we're going to be looking at. The green highlight is when Bitcoin has gone up drastically. You've seen a drastic increase, right? It's hit a new all-time high. The red is when it has pulled back, and during the point of the halving as well. Now, there's a specific time frame, and here's where your price prediction comes in. Here's when you know when to buy and when to sell. The halving is generally a little bit after the lowest point in the market. So the lowest point gets in, right? Then the halving happens. And from that point on, it takes about 520 days or so for Bitcoin to hit an all-time high. So there's 520 days, but let's just say 500 days to be on the safe side. You can cash out a little bit early. So let's say if you bought in on April 20th, which I believe is the next halving. Could be mistaken. Just look it up on Google, a Bitcoin halving, you'll see the dates, right? April 20th, you bought some Bitcoin, you bought some crypto. Okay, when do I sell? Oh my gosh, the market's going up, the market's going down. I want you to take emotions out of it for a second. Just focus on the cycle, focus on the algorithm, okay? Bitcoin, about 500 and something days after that halving event, will hit an all-time high. Forget about the low to the high or when it breaks the previous high. Just focus on the halving to the next all-time high. It's about 500 days, okay? If you want to be safe and you see nice profit at day 450 or day 490 and you want to cash out, do that. Because shortly after, about 30 days after, the high is going to be in, at least according to every single cycle that Bitcoin has gone through, right? And then most people are going to try to get in at the top. There's going to be a lot of hype, a lot of energy. There's going to be a lot of enthusiasm about Bitcoin. And then people can be like, oh yeah, let's buy in now. Let's sell our houses and buy Bitcoin. Let's do this and buy Bitcoin. Let's cash out our assets and buy Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin crashes, right? Which happens every 4 years as well. It'll hit a high, it'll hit a low. Now, what's interesting is you might be wondering, okay, Stefan, I understand what you're saying. What price will Bitcoin get to? As the cycles have happened, Bitcoin has hit lower prices in terms of the increase that it's making, right? Higher prices, higher highs, but a lower amount of increase. So in the very beginning, it would take off by leaps and bounds, brand new on the market, right? As it gets more, I don't want to say saturated because Bitcoin is by no means saturated. There's definitely not that much people in Bitcoin, to be honest with you, or into the cryptocurrency markets as yet. We still have so much room to grow. But as it becomes more known to people, it has been increasing less. Now, a few things that have just happened that could make this cycle a little bit different. But again, use caution, follow the 500-day rule after the halving, 500 days after, get out of the markets, in my opinion. And again, everything I'm telling you guys, this is not financial advice. This is purely educational. Don't take it as financial advice. It's only for your own knowledge. We're just analyzing a chart to see what might potentially happen. Listen, this could be completely different. Bitcoin could go to zero tomorrow and everybody lose their money, right? And I don't confess that. I don't decree or declare that. But I'm just saying it hasn't happened yet. So why would it happen now, right? Especially when there's so much more retail sentiment. There's so much more big companies, big institutions that are actually getting into Bitcoin now. I don't think that's going to happen because they're holding the asset, causing the price of the asset to hold at a certain level as well. Now, Bitcoin has increased more than double from the last previous high to the high that it's at now. The previous high during the 2017 bull run was close to about $20,000. After that, the high went just under about $70,000 or so, right? So from 20,000 to 70,000, that's more than 100% increase. Now, actually, it's more than double. It's actually a little bit more than triple, right? It didn't quadruple, but the price of Bitcoin tripled last time around. Let's say this time the price barely doubles. Let's say Bitcoin last high was about, let's just say 70,000 for a round number. If it doubles, it would be 140,000. And every single halving, it's more than doubled. If it triples, right, we could see a $210,000 Bitcoin. Now, what if we go a little bit under triple just to be on the safe side? Let's just say somewhere in the middle between 140 and 210. Let's just guesstimate $173,000. Let's say Bitcoin hits $173,000 during this cycle, right? The price of Bitcoin now is about 70,000. If someone were to buy one Bitcoin, they're making about $100,000 profit. That's no chump change, right? So it's just to give you a bit of insight as to what might be a potential high. I'll go for 173,000 only because of what the market has done. Right, we're basing it off of as it becomes more well known. The highs have not been multiplying as much, but it's still some significant gains. 500 days after the halving, that high always sets in. Okay, so you want to keep these things into consideration, and don't be based on emotion. When that high comes in, remember, everyone's going to say, oh, Bitcoin's going to go up forever. It's going to keep going up. You can see $1 million per coin, and maybe eventually it can hit that. Maybe I can be wrong, and this is a super cycle. And Bitcoin can go way over that. I'm just saying, take profits along the way. When you get in at different points. Just don't put all your money in at one point. Say, oh, I'll buy some here, I'll buy some here, I'll buy some here. Right? If the market dips, I'll buy some again. And then as I'm exiting the market, I'll take some profit here. I'll take some profit off at 100,000. I'll take some off at 120. I'll take some off at 150. If I see that 173, I'll take the majority off, and I'll let a small portion run just in case I think it's going to go further than that. Right? If that 500-day mark hasn't been set in yet and we see a very high price, maybe it can go higher. All I'm saying is that the Bitcoin halving is what creates the surge in the upward price movement of Bitcoin outside of retail trading and institutional investing. So ultimately, be wise. If you want to get into the markets, and again, I'm not telling you to get in. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm telling you to look at this video, like, comment, and subscribe. That's all I'm telling you to do. But if you do want to eventually get into these markets, do it with wisdom. Be cautious. Anything you invest, be willing to lose, because markets are unpredictable. They can do anything, right? And don't invest what you absolutely need to touch, because it's, as I said, it's 500 days. It's not a short period of time. It's not an insanely long period of time, but it's not short. 500 days is more than a year. Your money's going to have to be in there more than a year. You're going to have to see prices go up, prices come down, prices do a bunch of different things. You're going to be like, oh, this is taking forever. You're going to be impatient. But ultimately, be cautious and use wisdom. Thanks for joining me on this first crypto Bitcoin price prediction video. And we will continue to get similar videos like this up, not everything on crypto, but different types of investing and different types of ways that you can build kingdom wealth. And again, use it all for the glory of God. Give, make sure you're generous with what God blesses you with. God bless you guys. Take care. Have a blessed day. Goodbye.